У нас все готово? Ага, Ларион уже селфи делает. Все селфи сделали.
Have you already made your selfies? Are we on time? Dear friends, our schedule has shifted a little bit, so we'll have to work a little bit extra hard. Who attended the opening ceremony last night? Great. So yesterday we had the opening ceremony of the 2017 World Festival of Youth and Students. Today we're opening a world rally of successful entrepreneurs. I hope that we have successful people, successful entrepreneurs, successful students, young economists in this hall. Young people who will be shaping the economy of tomorrow, the future Rockefellers. Anybody against? Dear friends, today we have a broad team of panelists, experts, people who are eager to share their vision, experience with us, how to make the future, how to make it happen, how to make it closer, how to bring all those achievements and changes closer, not in 10, 15 years, but at the very least tomorrow. It's up to you how to do that, and we'll be helping you along the way. We have the best youth entrepreneurship experts today with us. Przemysław Grzywa, President of the European Confederation of Young Entrepreneurs, yes. President of the All-Russian Organization of Small and Medium-Sized Enterprises, Opora of Russia, Opora России. Kalinin Alexander, Jean-Emmanuel Afota, President of the company A Associates, founder of the Ex Libris Media Research Agency, Evgeny Larionov. How shall I put it? A founder of the group of companies of Kasenka Retail Group, 350 retail stores and tons of brand names, Sergei Kasenka. Each panelist will share with us his ideas on how to make the future closer, how to make it happen. Later, at different master classes, different lectures, we will drill down into different topics which we'll touch upon today at this session. I would like to give the floor to Przemysław, the president of the European Confederation of Young Entrepreneurs. Europe is a big, large home, and they managed to put together all young entrepreneurs under the slogan, yes, Przemysław. How do you see the development of young entrepreneurship in the future? How do you see our relations? Because Europe is a part of the world. How do you plan to make the European Association, how do you plan to turn it into a world association of young entrepreneurs?
Thank you. I'm really happy to be to speak as the first one. Happy to be in Sochi. Welcome everybody. Hello. Cześć. Yes for Europe is a European organization, pan-European organization based in Brussels. We associate members, national members from different European countries representing young entrepreneurs on the national level. So we have organizations from Poland, Germany, Spain, UK, Sweden, and now almost covering all over the Europe. And coming back to the question, and actually tapping to the last thing that you mentioned about how to be a global organization, it's actually we are almost there. Yes for Europe, which is the short name for European Confederation of Young Entrepreneurs. We are very enthusiastic about Europe, as you can imagine, being Yes for Europe. But we are also a founding member of an organization that is called G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, together with Opora Russia, which is also a member of that organization. So we represent also the young entrepreneurs from G20 countries, talking to G20 leaders, sharing our recommendations of what we believe is important for young entrepreneurs to grow now in present, but also to grow in the future. And together with other 20 or 19 organizations, we put together recommendations this year to the G20 leaders that we presented in Germany in June. And these recommendations touch upon specific things, but also more general things about how we believe the world should develop in order to help young entrepreneurs grow. And one of the first things is that governments and authorities should think about young entrepreneurs as digital-first customers. So we, as young entrepreneurs, are the first that used new technologies, and new technologies and digitalization is one of the most and crucial things if we think about developing our companies, our businesses into future. That's the first thing. Second thing is cross-border collaboration, which is of crucial importance for us in terms of growing our companies in future. So cross-border collaboration between countries, between companies, is one of the things that is a basics for our growth in future. And because we live in increasingly global world, this embracing international markets is a key thing to become a big company in future. And when I talk about recommendations, we put several general recommendations. One of that recommendation is that we believe that the governments should go for bilateral and multilateral agreements in terms of bonding together on a trade level. So, to make sure that young entrepreneurs are integrated within a global value chain. We also believe that in order to grow in the future, the governments, the countries have to invest into broadband connections and 5G in internet. In terms of specific recommendation that we put together as G20 Young Entrepreneurs Alliance, we believe that education is one of the most top priority if we think about growth in future. If we think about how world is changing so fast right now. So in order to capture that, in order to be able to be part of that growth, you have to be able to know how to create a new business model within this growth. There are so many new business models appearing. So the venture creation, the knowledge how to create a business, a successful business within the new business models, it's very important. Second thing is, in terms of education, is education within the new technology. It's really important to focus on education and new technology and for future. And also include digital competences within that education. One more thing in terms of what we recommended is a new taxation scheme that would be incentives for scale-ups, startups, and investors to create a separate tax category for young innovative companies, but also for social entrepreneurship, because social entrepreneurship can help us especially in the world that we have today. Social entrepreneurship can be a solution problems that we have right now, like, for example, refugee crisis in Europe. So that we believe that putting a special category of tax on social entrepreneurship, but also on young innovative companies, that will enable them and enable us to grow also in future. And last but not least, that is very important, and it's comes down to the cross-border collaboration that I was talking about, is launching a kind of a mobile mobility visa or entrepreneurship visa, a kind of a scheme for young people to be able to travel freely, to set up companies in different countries, to be able to hire people in different countries, to take experience, to be able to talk to different people, to talk to different cultures. And by setting up this, it may be a short-term but multi-entry visas for young entrepreneurs, especially when we see in Europe. When you think about Europe, you think about European Union, but we are not there yet in terms of being a one single market. So it would be crucial for Europe, if we talk about Europe, how to make Europe stronger in future on the business level, is to be one single market. To be free for the businesses to flow, to travel, to set up businesses in different countries, to test your business model, your business ideas in different countries. This would be something that we believe as young entrepreneurs from Europe, but also young entrepreneurs representing G20 countries, is of utmost importance. So summing up, I'm just and repeating myself, it's cross-border collaboration, it's mobility, and digitalization that comes down also to education. Thank you.
Thank you, Przemysław.
Do we have mics in the audience? Yes. If you want to ask questions, please raise your hand, and I'll make sure you have a chance to ask your question. Another question, Przemysław. We think that public civil organizations are a foundation of entrepreneurship development. If we have good business alliances, good business unions, we have a good chance we have a much better chance of building a good, fruitful economic relations between countries. Do you think it holds truth?
Well, representing a business organization, I have to say yes.
Just, it's enough, thank you. Спасибо. Вот достаточно было, что название.
So I think yes, that's the name of your organization, and that's naturally that was your answer. And you would be happy to provide assistance to other regions in other countries in establishing such alliances and organizations.
Just and I can give you two examples what we do in terms of helping other organizations. One example is Germany, and Ben is representing my friend from German organization is also with us today. We helped and supported organization in Germany that represents SMEs that wanted to set up a youth part, a young entrepreneurs part. So what we did, we supported the German organization to build up a youth young entrepreneurs organization that is not right now a very important member of Yes for Europe. So that's one thing that when we can help other organizations and other countries, and we see that Yes is a kind of a organization aspire to become a member of Yes, but also we have Mushek from Armenia, which is also our member, which is not in the European Union, but is aspiring to be a part. Well, it is a part of Europe, but in terms of to be a part of European Union community, in terms of business community. Okay. So we also invite and we talk with our friends from Opora to also become a part of Yes for Europe, because we believe that building bridges between different organizations helps young entrepreneurs success in their business daily operations.
Okay, thank you very much. Друзья, вот Европа.
Thank you. Europe is fortunate. Europe is fortunate because it has such a good organization. Russia is also fortunate to have this major union of probably the largest association of entrepreneurs, 450,000 member companies. And today we have Alexander Kalinin, who is the president of this organization, with us. Alexander, I have a question for you. The organization was established a long time ago. It has good ideas. Speaking about young entrepreneurs, how do you see the development of youth entrepreneurship and economy in general?
Gentlemen, welcome to Sochi. This is really nice place to come, to visit, to meet new friends, and we try to do the best for you. Thank you very much for coming.
I represent Opora России, which is a all-Russian non-government organization of small and medium-sized enterprises. We were established 15 years ago. We're still in our teens, and that's why we are here attending the World Festival of Youth and Students. Now let's talk about what a business association can do to make sure that young people from all countries become successful. What can it do to make them successful? On the one hand, we represent a huge social network spanning 85 constituent territories of our country. So we have an office in each constituent territory of Russia, in each region, offering similar services, identical services. We have they're fully staffed, and we have rep offices in different cities. And we have 400 additional rep offices across different municipalities. On the other hand, we have 60 industry committees, 60 sectoral committees. So we also provide industry associations. So if your company operates in the construction industry, you sit on the construction committee. If you are a member of the youth entrepreneurship committee, that means that your company deals with youth entrepreneurship issues. So this structure, this setup allowed us to create a distributed and integrated structure across the whole country. Yeah. Not too long ago, we adopted a development strategy. Our key goal is to create favorable conditions conducive to entrepreneurship in Russia, making it possible to create value, to create added value without being harassed. Russian entrepreneurs cannot live in a bubble separated from entrepreneurs in other countries. If we want a business to be successful in Russia, it must be successful worldwide. People need to be able to share markets, to share technologies, because any good product nowadays can be created only on the basis of cooperation. I'll tell you how we do that. These are the key facts. Again, we have 15 rep offices in 8 countries of the world. It's not enough, clearly. I hope that after this forum, the number of friends will increase. A separate structure we set up is a Bureau for the Protection of Investor and Entrepreneurs' Rights, because legal support, legal aid, legal advice in difficult situations is very much in demand. We have about 12,000 inquiries. We've received over 15 years, and in most cases, we provided assistance in difficult situations. We have research, analytical support. We focus on 3 groups where we see the strongest interest in small entrepreneurs, namely women entrepreneurs. According to our surveys, more than half of women population in Russia is not involved in entrepreneurship activities, even though 85%, 84%, according to our polls, would like to be entrepreneurs. And the Women Entrepreneur committees which we set up in over 50 regions of Russia, they receive inquiries and visits from many women. Youth entrepreneurship. We have a vice president of our organization, Eduard Amarov, who is personally in charge of this area. He's like a mentor. Artyom Androsov, we know him very well. He is the key driver of this committee. And finally, we think that the retired military personnel should be the third focus group. We learned from the U.S. they have this program. They've had it for quite some time, and so this will be the third group that we'll be working with, because these people, the former military servicemen, they retire quite early in life, and they're well organized. They have some they have funds, and so we want to turn them into entrepreneurs. Speaking about young entrepreneurs, when a young person wants to go into business, first of all, what he lacks or she lacks is connections. Where can he or she find connections? If you want to produce something in Sochi and you would like to sell your products in Vladivostok, Opora России can help you in doing that. It's just one click away. We can find your friends in Vladivostok. We can furnish you with recommendations, with references, to make sure that you will not be fooled and swindled. Second thing which is missing, knowledge, expertise. Of course, you can learn from other mentors, from other entrepreneurs. Members of our youth committee organize special business games, and we're going to have such business game here. And of course, the favorable business climate in the region of operations, where you would like to have your business. And of course, the influence of business associations is very important. We can we can improve business climate in the regions, in the country. I can say that very good conditions have been created for SMEs in Russia recently. We have a special tax regime, and it's only 6% tax on the turnover. If you have 2.5 million euros in annual turnover, you enjoy a special tax regime. So 6% tax on turnover, and that's it. You don't have to pay anything else. Again, checks or inspections by regulators are prohibited with regard to micro enterprises. We have now 6 million micro enterprises, and their number is on the rise. I think, having come here, you will find many friends, and on top of that, you'll find many business partners. We have 145 million people. Average salary is $700 a monthly salary. It's a good market. By producing something in Latin America and Africa, you can sell it in Russia. You can buy stuff from Russia. Our organization stands ready to make sure you have a flawless, a seamless business in Russia. Thank you, Alexander.
Dear friends, yesterday at the opening ceremony, there was this episode. There was a young person. He came on stage and proposed to his girlfriend. Have you seen it? This was a love story. I guess we'll have quite a few. And my colleagues told me that one of our young entrepreneurs is turning 25 today. He's young, he's talented. He established his business when he was still a student. He works in IT. He's a member of Opora Rossii. Dmitry Petrolov. Dmitry, where are you? Alexander, you can wish him a happy birthday. You even have a present for him. Well, if you decided to celebrate your birthday by coming to our forum, that's great. So, happy birthday. Another small present. Please, we'll take a picture with you, all of the speakers. Happy birthday.
У Дмитрия будет прекрасно.
Dmitry will have the opportunity to show his children and grandchildren that he participated in the greatest forum in 2017. So when he's 75, he'll say, 50 years ago, I took this picture with the speakers and panelists of this forum. Dima, good luck. You're doing great. Friends, this festival was born out of the idea of world peace, making an effort for world peace. What we do, establishing new ties and relationships, transcending borders, it's to support this idea of world peace. Our colleagues are already erasing the borderlines. Today we have Jean-Emmanuel Afota with us. He's been living in Moscow for 10 years. And he established forums calling it Positive Russia. He's building ties between businesses in Russia and France. Jean-Emmanuel, please. What's your take on this? Where do you see our guys in the future, please?
Дайте меня позитив энергии, пожалуйста.
Positive energy, please. Thank you. I'll try to speak Russian. Sorry, I'm going to make a few mistakes, but I apologize in advance. I came to Russia 10 years ago. I was the financial and then general director, worked in Russia in the CIS.
Talent of the people of this country. And I thought how it is that Europeans are not aware of
Поближе к
this.
микрофону.
Yes, sorry. How it is that Europeans, my French fellows also, are not aware of this. We have to solve this. We have to create a link. Нам надо сделать связь.
We need to create a link, a connection between a new generation of Russian entrepreneurs, all these talented people, and French entrepreneurs that are also talented. So that's how we came up with the idea of Positive Russia 3 years ago. The first time I organized Positive Economy Forum, it took place in Rostov. So 1,000 Russian and French entrepreneurs took place in this. Almost all French entrepreneurs didn't know much about Russia. And when they came here, they said, wow, we didn't know this. So they started working together. So what does it tell us? It tells us that very often we have ideas about each other, stereotypes, and they're wrong. So when we start talking to each other, when we start understanding each other, we see that we are similar. Yes, we have our own talents, but we have similar goals, or the same goals. So the purpose of positive economy is to create a community, a society, community between Russian entrepreneurs and French entrepreneurs. I was alone at the beginning. I started this project. So I presented this project to the presidential administration. And they said, well, good job, but you're going to have to do it alone, even though we support it. So what I like to say, what I want to say when I say positive economy and a new generation of entrepreneurs, each of you in this audience are unique. Each of you has a talent. Positive is when you can express your talent, you can apply it.
Society today, it's a very narcissistic society. You know, we like to show ourselves. Но это хорошо любить себя. Только
It's nice when you like yourself, but when you're positive, you have to think about other people as well. So you need to understand that the more you love yourself, the more you can love other people. And narcissism just does not work.
it's that we define it but an economy of relationship. Former economy is based on transaction. I am a product, you are a product, and we exchange. You are like Vieshi, okay? It's not very good. We are human beings with a soul and talent. The positive economy is the recognition of that. We privilege relations over transaction. Of course, we need transaction. Of course, we need money. Of course, we need profit. But it's not the goal. It's the result. And it takes a bit more time. It's more complex, especially when we have different culture and different age. But the more you can do it, the more successful you can be, not only from a business point of view, but for a personal growth point of view. And this is the main message I would like to give you. You are the new generation. New in my mind, novi поколение, но все происходит в
You are the new generation, but it's all in your head. It's all about what you're thinking. Sometimes when you're 20, you're very conservative and you don't think about innovations. And sometimes people are older, but they still have this flexible mentality. So it's not about age.
It's not a new generation against the other. Every generation has something to teach to the other. I learn a lot with the new entrepreneurs. And the more we can cooperate, the more you can cooperate with the oldest generation, also the more successful you will be. This is how I see the success of the economy of 21st century.
Thank you, Mr. Fota. Friends, time is moving fast. I remember my first computer, I remember my first cell phone. How much does a cell phone weigh these days? 50 grams? 100? My first cell phone was 20 kilograms. So 25 years later, you see how big the change is. We are gathering data differently, analyzing it differently. The world is changing, and we need to learn how to think as fast, how to change as fast. Evgeny, you are probably the best person to ask about this. So, please turn up the volume. He'll speak louder.
English speaking. How many English speaking people here? Okay. Do you have translators? Okay, fine. Друзья, я предприниматель.
Guys, I'm an entrepreneur, so I'll just step off the stage and talk to you about leadership. I think that behind every change, there are people, leaders who drive it, and they have different understanding, they have different values. I have a few projects, and I realized that if I don't want to get buried under them, I need people, leaders who are well adjusted to this environment. So how many entrepreneurs here? And who wants to be an entrepreneur? Great. And who doesn't want to be an entrepreneur at all? Cool. No such people in the audience. All right. So what I'm going to tell you is probably irrelevant, considering. Just a few examples of how fast things are changing. Over the last 2 years, 90% of information was created in the world. 90% of all information that exists in the world has been created over the last 2 years. And over the last 25 years, the cost of storing information has lessened, and it's 1 billion less. So most of you were born in a year when iPhone, the one that I'm holding in my hand, would take up an entire room, and it would be about 30% as functional as the recent model. And now we have interfaces that are connected right to your brain, like a neural link. So we are not going to be typing, or it's not going to be voice input. So talking about skills and new knowledge that we are going to have in the future is very interesting. So the people who were born after year 2000 and my generation, we can expect to live 30% longer. It's real. Like, if you know this parish, she corrected her DNA, and she tried to edit the part that's responsible for getting old, and the doctors that looked at her and looked at her DNA, they realized that she has plus 10 years to live. And technology that now costs $1,000 will cost $100 very soon. So it's not only about technology, it's connected to business as well. We have different business models, different types of governance. And before we do that, let's do something interactive. So here, there are some people that you know, and these people were leaders that made great changes. So let's start with the right bottom corner. Who is this person, and what is his most characteristic quality that characterizes him best? I guess we all know who that is. That's Steve Jobs. I'm just gonna say it because you all know who he is. So, what do you think is his most outstanding quality? Vision. Thought different, visionary, philosopher, determined, different governance structure, creativity. All right, guys. What I'm gonna show you now is my vision. Of course, all these people had the qualities you just named, but what I chose for Steve Jobs was scale. This was a person who thought on a very large scale. And talk about Apple capitalization currently. Do you know what it is? $800 billion. So almost 1 trillion. So he was thinking large scale, global scale. Created an amazing company. A lot of young people come to me. I'm a mentor at Skolkovo. And I talk with a lot of young leaders, and I invest my time and effort and money in them. And more young people, they proceed from I want to do something, this or that. And a lot of people from my generation, older generation, we thought about our duty. I have to do this. I have to work. So we have goals imposed by our society, imposed from outside. And it was a hindrance. And my understanding of business has been changing only over the last few years. And you, young people today, you know what you want and you do it better. So, next person, Nelson Mandela, yes. Just one quality of Nelson Mandela's: determination, okay? Didn't give up, okay? Perseverance, faith. Mission. Called it a vocation. He had a global mission. He had something he had to do. He spent 27 years in prison. He was president of South Africa. He understood perfectly well what he was fighting for. This is very important. This is what I just told you. When we're talking about our internal motivation, it's different. So there's Simon City on TED. He has a very good lecture about inspiring other people. So Mother Teresa, she's a saint. So what's her quality? Kindness, faith, love, inspiration, hope. The world was a better place because of her. I think it's important for our product to be useful, to make the world a better place when people value this, social entrepreneurship. So yesterday, remember the guy from Indonesia who created a hospital that works because people bring garbage to it, the garbage insurance, or people in India who cleaned the beach from garbage. All right, next person. Anatoly Tarasov. For 9 years, our hockey team was a champion. Well, I showed you my word already, but Tell me your ideas. What quality? Motivation, discipline, teacher, mentor, team. I decided to say leadership. He built a dream team. Personally, I'd love to have a team like that doing business with me. So, okay, the last person, probably not all of you know him. Who is that? Not a single person in the audience. All right. One of my most important principles is flexibility, being able to adjust, Agile Manifesto. So this is one of the 17 people who created Agile Manifesto in 2001, Alistair Cockburn. His PhD in IT technology. He was one of the people behind the principle that people are more important than business processes and results are better than plans, more important than plans. So this is one of the things that allows us to change very quickly. So these are the qualities that I see as important in other people, and I believe it's important to create them and so that our projects are permeated with them.
We now have decentralized economic models. Previously, those were P2P, sharing economy, Uber, Airbnb, etc. But they were driven by maximum generation of profit. And at some point in this drive, they started to generate social tension. Remember all the the cab drivers' protests. Remember how small family-run hotels were going bankrupt because Booking was charging 20% fee. Remember how Airbnb banned the extra right. The proponents of that extra right movement to book apartments in one city in the States. So, but now there's a new technology, blockchain. Everybody is talking about it. It's a fully decentralized economic model, blockchain. And given the hype we are living through now, there's still many people who are trying to do something weird, something strange, something unknown, and there will be lots of failure stories. There will be like in dot-coms, but certainly there will be success stories that will facilitate communication and interaction between people. It's a new paradigm, new philosophy. I believe in shared economy and shared leadership in decentralized systems. I think that's the future of business. One person is not in a position to change, to drive business development. The world is changing way too fast, and distributed systems will be driving the world going forward. There are a few more slides, but since I'm pressed for time, I will wrap up at this point. We are building Experum. It's a decentralized business model connecting young entrepreneurs with aged, experienced, seasoned business leaders. Thank you. Now back to Sergey. Thank you, Evgeny. You see, I gave the mic to the person, and he forgot about the moderator, and that's kind of entrepreneurs we're dealing with. Sergey, are you ready? Sergey is a unique person. He'd need to work in tandem with Jean-Emmanuel. He's a Russia positive in the Cube. And he'll prove this point. Hi, everybody. The worst thing you can hear is really thin applause at the beginning of your presentation. Yeah, let's. So my presentation. The topic of our today's conversation is young entrepreneurs in the economy of the future. There's no future, there's only present. There's no future, and there are decisions which are being made right now, right here. There are no decisions to be made tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, because when tomorrow comes, it will be today. So the future is already here, it's already now. Before this presentation, I tried to understand why we've all gathered here. What's the point? And Evgeny asked me, are there any entrepreneurs among us who wants to become entrepreneur? And in my presentation, I will try to make it clear to you. First, if you're not an entrepreneur yet, whether you are cut out to be an entrepreneur, whether you're fit to be an entrepreneur, just to I will bring it home to you. Even if you have a business degree, you may not end up being an entrepreneur, because an entrepreneur needs to have a certain set of traits. And Zhenya was right. He singled out 5 people, and they shared one trait. So after today's presentation, you will learn whether you're fit to be an entrepreneur. If you're already an entrepreneur, I would like to use my experience to show you what mistakes you can avoid in order to save money, not to lose a lot of money, because I did lose a lot of money because I made a lot of mistakes, and I hope to explain it to you today. And at the end, I will tell you how to start up a company from scratch, and in 1 year's time, the company will have $1 million turnover. So how to make a company from scratch with $1 million turnover in 1 year. Very briefly about myself, I was invited because I'm an actual entrepreneur. I can share my experience. My company, we started 4 brand names from scratch. We opened up 350 stores in 2016, 95 owned, and 260 franchises. It took us 3 months to do that. So every day we were opening up 4 or 5 stores every day. I'll tell you how we did that. This is my company. We are only 4 years old, and it's not a lot from any standpoint, from the standpoint of the European entrepreneurs. This is our stand at an industry show 2 weeks ago. We are called Kasenka Retail Group. This is a perfumery products, household products. My Instagram page, I show the life of an entrepreneur as it is. And I think people enjoy it. A month ago, I set up a YouTube channel sharing the latest developments in my life. So you can sign up, you can follow me. I attend major events. It wasn't the case all the time. 15 years I spent in the city of Smolensk. Do you know where Smolensk is? So Smolensk is a city, 350,000 population. The central square, as you can see it here in this picture, it's called a kolkhoz square, or a collective farm square. That was 10 years ago. That's myself. I was very similar to many of you. It hasn't taken much. Then I was a bank employee. I was an 18,000 ruble salary, very little. I became a management board member. I started making money. I grew cheeks and a belly. And then I became an entrepreneur. I was 26. It was 4 years ago. How do you imagine becoming an entrepreneur, a businessman? I think what happened to me is happening to everybody who's going through this. I mean, I'm giving so many presentations and lectures, but it's still every time it's a jittery experience. So what is business for you? It's a cool idea and advertisement. You need to come up with something unique. I came up with something unique. It was a shawl, a poncho with sleeves, so you can put it on, and it keeps your body warm, keeps your arms warm, and you can, work on your notebook. We set up an office. I was buying fit stuffs. We were buying stuff from China. He became, after our contract, he became a co-owner in the factory because that was the largest contract at the factory. It was 134 weeks ago. The first shawls, the first covers. I had 12 million rubles. I borrowed 3 million or 5 million. So we had about $500,000, and we invested all of them. All of that money in the in advertisement, and so everybody got to know about it. You see Mr. Zhirinovsky, if you know him, and he's trying on our products. We opened up the first store, and the running costs were 15,000 rubles a day. What was the first revenue? The first revenue on day one. What do you think? How much did we make on day one? 1,500 rubles. So we were losing 13,500 rubles a day. So it was a bit of a pain. So this is going to be your reality. There's going to be some pain. Then the New Year came. Everybody buys everything on New Year's Eve. Then we did a business plan. Everybody does business plan, right? Okay. Anybody who did business plan without having a business? Okay. Anybody who did a business plan, who had a business, and his business plan actually coincided or was in line with the actual business developments? 2 people. Okay. In 99% of cases, business plan, nothing goes along to a business plan. Actually, in my case, the costs were in line with the projections, while the revenues were almost next to zero. It was 2014. It was really hard going. I had outstanding loans. We closed down all stores. Became clear this business model doesn't work. I let everybody go. I was sitting up by myself in an office. I was in low spirits. I attended Siliger. It's a business forum in Siliger. Anybody who's been there? Great. It's something similar to this forum, but on a smaller scale. And I attended an entrepreneurship session, and I was running around with a wrap, with a shawl around me, showing people what a great idea it was. It was 2014, so I met with the leaders of the largest companies, and then we received an order, a 500,000 ruble order for shawls, and it became clear that we can sell our products in wholesale, and that's when we started making money, generating some profit. And it became clear that even if I sell the entire stock, I would still be in the negative territory. So I decided to borrow more. Great idea. I borrowed 10 million rubles more. We started selling in major retail stores. The thing is that I took $10 million US. I took out $10 million in loans, and remember what happened in 2014. I had to pay back 20 million, and that's It's when I had to pay back 20 million instead of 14 because of the FX fluctuation, and that's how I felt at that time. So I didn't know what to do. I felt really bad, and I hope that you will learn from my story. I'm sure that every entrepreneur has already run into similar situations or will run into similar situations, maybe not as painful as in my case. So what happened next? I went back to school. We entered corporate gift segment. We went to the largest tour operators, showing them our products. And one company bought some shawls from us. And then it dawned on me that we buy fabric from China. If we can't sell shawls and wraps, maybe we can just sell fabrics. It took me 5 minutes to set up this webpage, and we sold the entire stock of fabric. And it became clear that people didn't need wraps or shawls, but they needed fabric. So we ran out of fabric. We had no fabric to make shawls from. Then we started making wraps for football clubs. Then we came up with new brands, sweaters with reindeer, scooters, etc. And the greatest invention we made, which actually dramatically changed my life. Guess what we did? We came up with shawls without sleeves, and that was a genius idea. A simple idea. You don't have to stitch sleeves onto shawls, and it became clear that actually people want to buy shawls or wraps more than wraps with sleeves. So at the end of the day, I'm okay. I'm doing fine. Just a few conclusions for you, for young up-and-coming entrepreneurs, for those who are making future now. First of all, an entrepreneur is a person with a high level of pain. You need to understand there will be a lot of pain along the way. Every time you move forward, you do something new, you will get something unexpected. It's the same with business plan. It's very hard to plan it. Secondly, an entrepreneur is a professional loser. You will lose a lot of things, and I have more failures in my life than success stories. And also I promise to tell you how to make a lot of money. You need to make the right decisions. As simple as that. How to make the right decisions? What do you think? You need experience. How to gain experience? You need to spend some time making wrong decisions, and that's normal. You need to be prepared for that. And now, super secret. It's a super secret technique, method of becoming a successful entrepreneur. This is our partner. You know what states here? It says, be ahead of your clients' anticipations. Give them exactly what they want and slightly more. So, again, it's very simple. You need to give your clients exactly what they want or slightly more. And this guy who buys our products, he gets what he wants, and we give him something extra. You don't have to have huge marketing budgets. You don't have to do something revolutionary. Just give your clients what they need, what they expect, and something extra. But how to do that? 3 steps how to do that. 3 elements of success. Sergey, there will be a separate masterclass, and Sergey is going to tell about it at a separate masterclass. Sergey, your time is up, so please take your seat. Well, that was the fun part that I was getting into. Okay. Come to my session tomorrow, but I think this is A stroke of genius. We are the entrepreneurs, and we are in the position to do that. Dear friends, our session is drawing to its close. Let's have 3 questions and then wrap it up. I promised an audience member on the left-hand side, a young person over there, and a young lady. Good afternoon. Evgenia Bondarenko. I represent Closed Entrepreneurs Club of the Lipetsk region. Why closed? Closed. Our club is only 4 years old, and we've already reached the point when we need to develop interregional, international ties. So your advice, how to best integrate into the international business community? What development pathway do you suggest, do you recommend? Mushek, I think, is the best person to answer this question. How to integrate into the international entrepreneurs community. Mushek Avetisian, he's the president of the Union of Young Entrepreneurs of Armenia. In 2012, I became the president of this organization, and I had no clue about entrepreneurship because only last year I became an entrepreneur. I just opened up a webpage and started looking for such alliances, and I found, yes, I wrote them an email asking to accept me as a member. So for 4 years, we've been with YES organization. They have a lot of networking opportunities and other opportunities, and you can just simply ask people, how they can help you, how you can help them, and that's what creates community. And Russia will soon become a member as well. Yes, thank you, Mushek.
Mike, please. Good afternoon. My name is Sergei Zolotov. I'm from the University of Lobachevsky. So I'd like to ask a question. It's to Mr. Afotsa. I'd like to ask it in English. Everyone's going to get it, I think.
For us, please, when the economics of relationships will be the dominant in the society?
Это зависит от вас. Это реальный?
Yes.
No.
No, seriously. It's up to you. We believe that the new economic approach could be developing very fast if there are at least 10% of people doing that. So that's our purpose in the EU. We have positive Russia, and we want to do that in 5 years. All right. Thank you for your question. All right, and the lady over there, please. Good afternoon. My name is Valeria. I'm just a simple girl from Chelyabinsk. Sergei, you were just a simple guy from Smolensk. So how did you have 12 million and you borrowed 6? So how did you get this money, and how did your loans even get approved? So I came to the bank when my salary was 18,000. I thought you were going to say that I'll tell you that at my master class, but no. Well, in 5 years, I got to the board of the bank. So I was head of the department. And we approved loans for 1 million. So though that was all of my money, that's how I got it. And why banks approved loans? Because I was head of a department in the bank. So before I left the bank, I filed for loans. So Well, you see, this is how entrepreneurship works. He had the foresight. He knew that he was going to leave this place, so he used it to his advantage. So, Jean-Emmanuel, please, you have something to say? A question? It's not a question. So, Positive Russia unites Russia, the EU, and French entrepreneurs. So we also work in the trial dialogue direction. I'd like to show the French entrepreneurs Positive Russia. I'd like to ask you to stand up, please. And say, we are for Positive Russia. I didn't hear that. No, in Russian. Can you do it better? Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jean-Emmanuel. You have 10 days, almost 10 days to talk, to communicate. Use this opportunity the best you can. Ben, do we have a chance for our communication to be effective during this forum?
Chance for effective communication.
So basically, to answer that question very quickly, it is not a term of communication skills. It's a term of being human. Talk to each other.
Спасибо.
Ben Knopfler, an expert in corporate communications. You're going to have a masterclass with him, right? So you can come to that and listen to him later. We're almost done. This opportunity to hold this event for young entrepreneurs actually was born 5 years ago. We got an idea for this project, this conference of successful entrepreneurs. And from a small idea, it grew into this international event that we have today. And today you can establish new relationships and connections, learn new things, start a joint venture to facilitate our respective economies and to promote world peace. Thank you. We'll see you at other events. Thank you.